Hey Gina, got
Yes.
a joke for you.
I'm ready.
Sweden doesn't export its cattle because it wants to keep its stock home. What birds are found in Portugal?
What birds are... I'd have to ask Lexi. She's the birder.
Portuguese.
But I'm bummed. It's Gina
And Don.
with Focused Healthy Family, and it's time for another Tuesday tip. So when this airs, we're in the middle of moving. And it's also October, and the holidays are approaching. And no matter your beliefs, there's different holidays that start to come up at this time of the year. As it's fall, whether you celebrate Halloween or not, Thanksgiving, and all the other different religious tradition holidays that happen around this time of the year. So with things going on with holidays, or if you're moving like we are, it's time to check in with yourself and look at your expectations. And also, how are you communicating with yourself, your family, your relatives around these stressful times? So the holidays can be stressful, as can moving, or maybe some other thing you're undergoing. And so it helps when you have a stressful situation to plan ahead for it. Plan ahead for, okay, we have all these places to go at the holidays. There's things everyone likes to do. What is it my kids want to do? What do I want to do? Communicating beforehand rather than just jumping into the middle of it and then
Getting prepared.
getting caught up in things that you feel like have to get done, but thinking ahead. Thinking about getting acquainted with some of the common words that come out with those issues. How you're going to handle anger, actions, thoughts, and feelings. So you can pay attention when they come up. So you can recognize, in your child, they're getting stressed. What's the behavior manifesting as? And back it up, what's can trigger that.
Underneath it.
When we're doing celebrations, whether it's birthdays or any kind of holiday, they're eating things they're not used to eating. Are they eating food dyes, excess amounts of sugar, artificial flavors and sweeteners? These things can all have an impact on behavior for us and our kids. I discovered corn was sort of an issue for me as well as my child, especially high fructose corn syrup. And so recognizing, okay, things are going to be different, planning for that and thinking ahead.
Through it, yeah.
Thinking ahead of time about the different things that are going to come up to figure out how to go into it. So we're in the midst of moving. We have to coordinate clearing out clutter, packing up, moving to the new house, figuring out where things are going to go, managing our 14-year-old and her homeschool activities and the places she has to go, me working part-time, us continuing to broadcast and record. We're kind of thinking about, okay, can we start packing up our TVs and our recording equipment? It's like, wait a minute, we still have to be able to record podcasts and get things going. And thinking about the emotions that are involved. We just did a podcast on the emotions of moving and all the different components that are involved. And so we've been checking in a lot with our daughter that lives at home, and as well as our older kids, and checking where they're at and realizing, okay, when you have a big project, a holiday, moving, you've got your own emotions going on, and you don't want to put that on your child, which is something I've had to learn to kind of step back from. I have to have a space to recognize my own emotions, share it with you or a friend, and then be there for the child so that you can really hear them and what they're going through and not mix in what you're dealing with at the same time. Does that make sense, Don? Contemplatively.
Yeah, my thoughts are going. I'm trying to put my thoughts together because there was a thought I had and it kind of slipped away.
Because I kept talking.
Well, yeah, but just about thinking about how kids look at the holidays and their expectations that they come up with. That we know that those expectations can cause anxiety and stress, and understanding and recognizing that so that we deal with their behaviors and their stresses in a different way.
And realizing their expectations are different than ours.
Yes.
Whether it's the holidays or like moving. Their perspective of the world is different. Their brain is not fully developed, and the world they're in, like we're seeing things, like we've had this conversation with the moving about the outside cats that we've taken on as kind of our own cats. They started out as community cats that we fed. And when the kids brought it up to you, it was overwhelming to you because you're thinking about all these other things that we have to deal with, finalizing the mortgage and the loan and the payments and the contacting the moving company, and then they say that, and it just...
Yeah, it flared me up because it was just like, I got so many other priorities. I'm sorry, unfortunate part is I'm not as big a cat person as they are. So it was a little tougher for me to...
But you were able to recognize that and say, okay, kids, don't... Because I went somewhere with my son, and he's like, I'm not supposed to talk about the cats. And I was like, you're not supposed to talk about them with your dad. We can talk about the cats. We can make a plan for them. And because it overwhelmed you. And with our kids, too, realizing, okay, if we share too much, or very empathetic children that are highly sensitive, especially our one living at home, if I'm sharing all my struggles and what I'm worried about, that's putting all that on her. She's got her own stuff, and what she's concerned about is valid to her. Like even our daughter who doesn't live at home, her concerns look differently, and I'm trying to honor and respect that and be there and listen to her and support her, as well as tuning into myself. So it's sort of juggling that different people's expectations, recognizing that they're different than your own, not making assumptions, taking time to listen and tune in and hear them, and setting your stuff aside. You have to have a space to be able to vent your stuff separate from your kids. Together as a family, you can discuss things that affect everybody. But having either your spouse, and even sometimes, we have all this going on with the moving, or if it's holidays, having other friends that we can talk to vent about frustrations and things is so essential. Because when you don't have that and you just dump it on each other and you pour out all the stuff you're struggling with and you're putting that on your kids, that's adding to their stress. I guess I'm thinking about how people say, kid, you're all worried about that. You don't know what's tough. Wait till you're an adult and everything's hard. And
but
these are
to
your
them,
easy years. But what they're dealing with is real
just as tough for them.
It's so real to them. And no, it's a good thing they don't have to worry about paying the bills and doing all that. Well, they're still a kid. They've got their own issues and their own process that they're growing and developing.
Well, and holidays for me have changed so dramatically as far as when I was a kid. And I don't mean just the style of it, right? But I'm just talking about the way I look at holidays. I'm working, Labor Day and Memorial Day went by. They came, all of a sudden I realized that Monday I think it was Labor Day. Oh, it's Labor Day. No wonder the bank's not open, or, because I don't. And
as a kid, was it a big deal?
Well, Labor Day wasn't as big. Memorial Day was because we'd get together with relatives and go on a picnic or something. And so I had to really, in my mind, remember what it was like as a kid and how I was thinking about things and how excited I was, and because I don't want to take that away from our kids. But even for our kids have changed in the way they look at holidays too, I think a little bit. But they still... I got to remember that they have a different enthusiasm, a different perspective on it than I do.
And that applies to the moving as well. That it looks, what they're thinking about it looks differently than what we're thinking about, and that's okay. And it's important to recognize that and know we can't fully understand what they're going through, and know they can't fully understand what we're going through, because they're a kid, we're an adult, we've got different responsibilities, and we're also different people. What you're going through with this move is different than what I'm going through, because you're looking at different perspectives of things. It's like having to think about where we're going to do with outside cats is just way overwhelming to you, and it's like I can juggle that with the other things, but there's other, like coming down our basement right now, there's just so much stuff, and you cleaned up the boxes, and it just feels freeing to me, because when I come to a space that has so much to do, I get frozen. Having you around, and there's areas we work on together, and then you're good at following through, and I'm like, okay, I want these organized, and realizing our strengths and weaknesses, and that we can work together with it, and knowing, things are overwhelming. It's like with holidays, you know what, I really hate taking the kids trick-or-treating, but maybe your spouse enjoys that, and finding that balance.
Do you dress up, like... We've kind of gotten away from that. We used to dress up with the kids and
Yeah.
go out,
But not just doing things because you feel like you have to.
Yeah.
But what, is this important to your kid? Well, maybe it's not really important to your kid. Or maybe it is, but they can't, like our youngest can't eat the candy because of all the food sensitivities. But what can we do instead? Can we have a way to celebrate? Can we have our own traditions?
Yeah.
And making it your own and not just getting wrapped up in the doing. And
Well, this Christmas for us is going to be, I think, a little different, kind of financially, and we're going to be at a different home, and so it's going to look very different, I think, from what it's looked in the past, and which can be good. And I think it's going to be on us to help kind of make it, keep it good, or keep it.
Still have
but I think financially it's going to be different.
Well, it's also going to be different because we live 20 minutes from our son. We're going to be more like 50 minutes from him.
Yeah.
We live just under 3 hours from our daughter. It's going to be at least 3 hours. And so the coordinating of us getting together is going to look different. She works a job that she can't just take off holidays. Last year she lived in a big house, and we went up there because her roommate went home for Christmas, and we used the space, and we had plenty of space to stay at her house.
But she doesn't have that now.
And now she lives in a small little apartment. So, juggling the different aspects of the way things work, and with us moving into a house and having to have expenses, spend money on different expenses, it's like I kind of gave our daughter a heads up, Christmas is going to look like you get to paint your room, and and we buy you a fan that you want for the the ceiling, and our kids are.
They like these Christmas plans. I didn't know you're going to paint rooms and.
Well, I just mean it's going to be practical.
Okay.
We're always, in many respects, practical.
Yeah.
Yet, like you said, it's going to look different. Like I said to you, we've gone away for our birthday, or we'll do gifts for each other, and I'm like, our birthdays are in October. I said, Don, our birthday celebration this year is moving into our house. And I literally mean that. We don't need to go anywhere. We're going away in November for a family wedding. And that's exciting to me. Going out and picking out blinds for the house. This is something we've wanted for a while.
Yeah.
And so just kind of reframing things, and it doesn't have to look a certain way. You can still have a celebration as a family. You can still have that spirit without it having to look. Does that make sense?
I think so.
A specific way. So
the tips, I guess, for this would be, one, remembering the perspective of each person that's involved, how they see the holidays.
And giving them that space to share with you, and honoring that in them, and tuning into your own self, and deciding what is most important. What are the priorities? Whether it's holidays or a busy move or lots going on, maybe there's a family challenge with someone's health. What's most important? What can we let go of? How can we maintain some traditions that are important in a way that works and doesn't overwhelm us and stress us out?
Start now and kind of
Preparing.
Thinking through it,
Right.
Planning through it a little bit. It would make the holiday smoother by getting an idea of where you want to go with it, what you want to do.
And even if you are in the middle of it, maybe you're listening to this and it is the middle of the holidays, or maybe something traumatic has happened in your family and you're having to figure it out on the fly, you can still step back and kind of think through things and take a moment for yourself to think about your priorities and think about what can we let go of and what do we need to pay attention to. So those are our thoughts for today.
And we hope you enjoyed this. If you want to check us out at Focused Healthy Family. And you can check out our Facebook and Instagram, gina.focusedhealthyfamily. And we'd love to hear comments on this. And, of course, join us on Thursdays for our full podcast where we go in depth into different issues and different thoughts.
And remember, how you speak to your kids today shapes their future and yours.